Hello and welcome to Before We Break Up Again with Alfie Brown and Jessie Cave. This is a very special question and answer session thanks to the lovely people who sent in their questions on Instagram. We've had a few technical issues, so this episode is out a little bit late. We're very sorry about that. Alfie lost an SD card. He cried quite a lot about it, and we're not going to mention that in the next hour, and I'm not angry. Thank you for listening.
Right, you ready to do a podcast?
Yeah. I am. We have 1 hour exactly.
We have 1 hour exactly.
Before I got to pick Donnie up from swimming. So let's get on it.
Let's get on it. You'll be aware from the social media output of mine today that there were some technical issues with a hotel room special that we recorded last night. And it hasn't gone well in the technology department. But these are the trials and tribulations of running an indie podcast. And it's just something that we have to work around.
I feel like you're going to cry.
I'm not going to cry. I feel very, very robust.
Do you?
And I'm really glad we're doing it now.
Okay.
And I'm looking forward to editing it and getting it out there.
Okay.
Finally. Keeping our Friday promise.
It's just a shame because it was such a funny drunken one.
There can be another one.
Okay.
Well, I think we should make the sexy hotel room special a semi-regular occurrence.
Yeah, and really freak those people out who work at the hotel because they were...
So this morning, Jessie left as I began to edit the podcast that we did last night where we were a little bit pissed. And there was actually something in there that you were worried about. So maybe you're happy that it didn't see the light of day.
What, the thing at the end?
Can't remember what it was.
It was just you at the end being kind of mock angry, which I thought could be read as kind of just angry.
Oh no, that was a good joke. For fuck's sake.
Yeah. There was a lot. It was all very funny. But, don't cry over spilt milk. Anyway, I left and before I left, I thought, oh, maybe you should sit up and get dressed. And because you don't hear me when I say Alfie, when you've got the AirPods in, you listen to them too loud. But I don't say that to your face when we're not podcasting because I know you get angry, but you listen to them too loud. You're going to get tetanus. So I thought you should get dressed because you won't hear if someone knocks.
You did think that, did you?
I did think that as I left. And then it happened.
Because somebody then knocked on the door and I didn't hear and I carried on editing with a tripod on the side table that we'd pulled to the end of the bed to attach a softbox to and put the tripod on and create a low budget filming setup right at the end of the bed in what looked like quite obviously a homemade sex tape. And me editing on my laptop naked on the bed with pastry crumbs on my chest. And the poor woman who just turned around and she just took it in. She just went, oh, there that is. And then immediately left. But I'll come back. It amazes me that they just come in. Like, why come in? You're not going to clean the room for ages anyway. Do I really have to, like the thing on, I'm sure when I was younger, there wasn't such a necessity to put the thing on the door. Otherwise, we're going to come into your bed at 9 a.m.
Well, to be fair, it was 10 a.m. and you didn't answer when they said housekeeping. Probably.
But they never come. What's the point? If like checkout's 11, why not just leave it? Somebody might have the policy with the little cardboard door handle, do come in, don't come in signifier thing is so much more crucial than it used to be.
But I think it's because they have a very high turnaround, that hotel, because there's lots of affairs happening the entire time. People have to get them in, get them out, clean up jobs, get in, get out.
There are people who've just booked a room from like 11 till 1:30.
Yeah. I love that idea. Sometimes
brunch fuck.
Aren't there hotels where you can do it by the hour?
Not that you'd want to stay in.
I'm sure there is, because it's so much easier to film content in hotels. I'm going to have to get in on that.
Yeah.
There was something going on in London this week. All the hotels were completely rammed. We've had quite a busy time we went to an award ceremony, the International Booker Prize.
Yes.
The literary awards.
Yes, and there were lots of course, it was me, Alfie Brown, a disgraced comedian, Jesse Cave, Trolleyed Sky One, Sam Campbell from his of Blaps fame, if they're still called Blaps, I believe. Daniel Fox, who plays a very funny Beelzebub type character on Twitter, and Phil Wang from
Taskmaster.
That interview with David Letterman. And we were all there to celebrate the best translated fiction of the year. You're reading one of them at the moment. What do you think?
It's good. Yeah, it's good. It's one of those books it makes you realize, oh, you don't have to be, it's just the feeling gets, I feel so much reading it, even though it's not amazing writing. And I enjoy those books more, which makes me feel much better about my writing, because my writing is probably not that refined.
Mm.
So yeah, it's one of those books. It's all about women, just women. Anyway, we had a nice time. We were sat at a table with a very important woman who runs BWBUA, and that was very exciting for me.
She had a great big sleeve, which looked good, I thought.
You really notice things, don't you?
Well, it was a good look. It was a nice party dress.
Oh, that's great that you noticed that. Lovely.
She was a fun woman. I enjoyed her company.
I
She was
could
a nice
tell.
person to sit next to. Yeah, I know you can tell.
They did that thing. I've never been to one of those fancy awards things before where they separate, so we couldn't sit next to each other. We had to be, someone was in between us, which is quite clever, because I would have just kind of spoke to you the whole time.
Yeah, but then the woman from BWBUA was sitting next to her mate. So I'm not sure they did it with everybody.
But she was, powerful.
She was on the committee of the Booker Prize or something. The trustee. She was a trustee. Don't know what that means.
I don't know if I could get into doing events like that the whole time. I think I find them quite... You have to drink, first of all. The alcohol is kind of constant.
I think I find it pretty...
This week.
I think I find those things all quite silly. And then the speeches, especially at a book prize, the Booker Prize, everybody's like, who's hosting it or giving some information about the awards has overwritten their speech to such an embarrassing extent. Like I actually can write, and here's this rather ornate, wordy, self-conscious bit of writing that I've done because I work for the Booker Prize people. And it makes me feel a little bit tense, like that's not writing. And then they had these videos, these little sketches.
Done, yeah. So they got an array of very, very employed actors, very it actors right now to do like an extract from the chosen 6 finalists' books. And I actually enjoyed them. I would love to act in one of those.
But it's shit. It's completely misses that. That's not what it's for. The books are written in a certain way. So they're not, it's a real rum deal for any actor who's doing it. The books are written in a certain way so that you don't need any of that acting, so that the acting can take place inside your own imagination. So
but it's just a nice visual thing at an award ceremony. I think it's cool.
I thought it was. I don't think you really think that. I do
genuinely.
So,
I do think it's cool, and I would like to do it. So let's not bitch about it.
And you would like to do it. I thought it was really crap.
How much do they get paid? That's what I want to know.
Not very much.
No, I reckon they got paid a good ton.
Do you?
I reckon they got paid at least 10K.
I think it was vanity work.
No, I think it was at least 10K, and that for them, that's nothing. I think a good 10K for that.
But who's reading a book and in their own brain going, "No," Samantha cried, "I don't want to do that. I'm going over there now, and there's nothing you can do to stop me." The cold wind enveloped his brittle shoulders, and he wrapped himself firmer, knowing the path ahead was treacherous. With all, that's not how you read. You read in like with all of that removed. That happens inside your own brain. It's,
maybe other people read like that. I'm being
do.
positive today, and you're being negative, but that's because you hate yourself. Right, let's get on to the Q&A. The lovely Q&A. We had so many cool questions.
We did.
It was fun.
We did. Now, Jessie thinks that putting people's names or reading out who asked the question is something that we shouldn't do. And I think it's something that we should do. So we've compromised by not doing it.
Well, you could say that, just don't say that whole username.
I haven't written it down.
Okay, cool. Great.
So now we're not doing it.
Good.
But if you'd like it to be read out, then maybe that would be fun for you in the future. And you could let us know and we can have a vote on it or something like that. Have you ever considered writing a song together? No, of course not.
That's so sweet.
I think it might be quite, I don't know why you're asking. Maybe it's something
because
that
they
happens
can tell I've got a beautiful singing voice.
Maybe it's something that happens in therapy where people write songs together and that creative collaboration somehow helps other areas that are experiencing more difficulty, something like that.
I would love to know what your song about me what the lyrics would be. I would love that. I think you would write a really good song.
Maybe I'll write you a song.
Yeah, or maybe I'll write you a song. I had a horrific flashback the other day of when I thought I was going to kind of be a singer for a bit. I think every mad actress at one point thinks, yeah, I could do that. And I remember it was a time when I was being rejected by a guy quite brutally. And I was walking along a road in Battersea on my way to do a shit play. And I remember thinking, I don't want to do this shit play. I want to be a singer. And so I got out my phone and I started recording myself walking along. Like I thought I had this amazing idea for a lyric. And it's one of those moments where if I heard that back, you know, I think I did once. I accidentally stumbled upon it and I listened thinking, what's this note? And it was so embarrassing.
I've still got all my books from when I was 15, all the songs that I wrote then, but they weren't really songs. I never wrote music or melody. They were just, I mean, not poems, but just songs with no melody. But I suppose that is a poem, isn't it?
I so think you would have been a brilliant singer-songwriter. You'd have been a brilliant one. Anyway, that's my question.
I think there's one called Cheer Up the Old Fella about my dad's depression. There's one called Can You Imagine a Street, which is very fame hungry. There's one, oh my God. And I think the most embarrassed I'd ever been is when I went out on the first sort of friendship holiday. It was me and my friend Lorenzo, and we went out and we met these girls in France, and they went through my stuff and found my notebook and found this like rather broken heartbreak song called Sweet Poison in My Mind or something awful like that. And they read it out through the bathroom window. And I just...
That's cruel.
Absolutely horrid, isn't it? And I felt so humiliated, so brutalized. And it wasn't until they read it out, like Sweet Poison in My Mind, I went, it's shit. I didn't know. I had no idea. But now I've heard it in your mocking tone. And there was a whole book of it. So they chose that one because it was especially shit. And it was about Gemma, who you can, the story, Elizabeth, I think I call her to hide her identity in the third episode of this podcast or whatever it is I do. But it was all about my heartbreak, that experience with her.
Oh my God.
It was absolutely brutal.
Formative though. I went through a phase in my teens of thinking that I could audition for girl bands. And I got my brother, Ben, to film me on one of the early kind of camcorder things. I sang Whitney Houston, I Want to Dance with Somebody. And I got dressed up and I like made sure no one, I said to all my other siblings, I was like, no one come in this room. Ben's helping me with something. No one come in this room. And I went in and I started singing awfully, I Want to Dance with Somebody. And I had dressed up. I was wearing, it was very rare for me to show my body, but I like showed my arms and I was wearing like a little skirt. And Ben wanted to die doing this for me. And he didn't even look at me as I was doing it. He couldn't look at me. And I sang my heart out. And then obviously I forgot about it. And then I stumbled upon it with him.
How many years later?
No, like relatively soon after I looked at the footage back, and Ben had to leave the room because he was so...
And how did
he was so angry at having to do that for me.
And how did you feel when you viewed it again?
I was appalled. I feel like it's one of those things that's one of the biggest, sorry to bring it back to death, but one of the biggest things I wish I could apologize to him for. Like, I'm so sorry I never got to apologize before he died that I made him do that. And also he was an amazing pianist. Like, he taught himself, and we had this piano in our tiny little corridor, and he would sit there like under the coats with the piano, and I would make him play Maybe This Time by Cabaret.
Mm-hmm.
And I would sit on the stairs and I would sing so loudly and badly, and he would do it dutifully. It was very sweet.
Yes, moments of embarrassment with somebody that you've lost, you want to bring it back up and go. I would just be curious to know what you made of that. And I was so ill, and it was just me and my dad living together, and I had a temperature of something crazy, and it was one of the only times I've ever been delirious with fever. Have you ever been delirious with fever?
Not
where
really.
You're just talking nonsense.
No.
And you can't, you're just talking rubbish. And I was in bed, and Dad went out and said, "Bye, Alf, do you want anything?" And I had an erection, and I showed him it and went, I think it's too big, it's going to take over, or something mad like that. Like, I was really worried about the erection. And I came back round from this, like the fever, and I went, I think I showed Dad my erection earlier. And then I said, Dad, did I say anything to you earlier when I was like in my fever? And he went, just some rubbish.
Oh.
Just some rubbish.
Oh.
And I went, okay. And I went, pretty sure it was about... Anyway, yeah, I'll write a song.
I'll sing you a song.
The pollen count today is crazy.
Right, we gotta get through these a bit quicker.
We will get through them a bit quicker, but
speed up, Alfie.
Sorry, Jessie, I will write a song. I've always wanted to write a song.
We get that.
I just as a hobby or something something I've been interested to do, like formally, artistically, and how it would work and whatnot. Anyway, if you had another job, what would it be, Jessie?
I would love to be a midwife.
Yes, of course you would. You utero-hungry bitch.
I would really like to be a midwife, and I think that is maybe in my future if we can earn enough money.
Babies, 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 fucking babies.
I also would have loved to be a primary school teacher.
I would like to be a disgraced drama teacher if I was going to have another job. In all seriousness, I would like to be a drama teacher or an English literature teacher, one of those two subjects. My drama teacher between the ages of 15 and 17 was, I think, the formative character in my young creative life, and widely criticised for his teaching techniques, but completely brilliant.
And he came to see your show, didn't he?
In Aberdeen.
How lovely. You're so lucky to have that.
And then we went out
and
for
also,
pints.
You would be such an amazing teacher, Alfie.
Thank you, Jessie. I think you would as well. I actually think you might get a bit flustered. If you break up again, will you still do the podcast? No, because whilst if we broke up, would want to maintain a good and friendly, communicative relationship, Jessie employs in arguments and moments of tension what I call her scorched earth policy. She gets her flamethrower out and ensures that nothing can ever grow there again. So I think if we broke up, Jessie would, I wonder how much money it would have to be making for you to want to continue it after a breakup.
It would be too painful. It'd be too painful. I was thinking about that the other day when we almost broke up. I was thinking, but we've committed to this podcast now, so.
Well, and also I think it's on the cusp of breaking. It gets so much positive feedback, and yet I think it's about to kick off this podcast.
No, it's not, Alfie.
I think it is. You need to have a little bit of belief. You need to have a little bit of can-do spirit.
Delusion. Grand delusion. Go on, next one. Next one.
This is a hot ticket.
No, it's not.
You're a fucking...
I've got to get Donnie from swimming. So
we're going to do it. We've got time. You're a Harry Potter actress who's turned to porn. I'm a disgraced comedian.
I'm not turned to porn. You cannot say
it's
that.
It's in the comedy section of the fucking iTunes. It's obviously not porn.
Alfie,
you can say... I'm not everything that I say on this podcast, I'm always going to mean.
I know, but it gets lifted for Lad Bible, so you just got to...
Good. That's good for us.
Okay, go on then.
It's good if it gets Lad Bible, lift that. Jessie does hardcore pornography. Lift that.
Absolutely not. Alfie. We'd have been better off making a porn last night than doing the failed podcast.
Well, it doesn't matter. We could have done anything.
I want to make a porn with you for ourselves. Mm-hmm. I think it would be really fun. We should write a song and do a porn.
Well, hold that thought.
Maybe our music video could be.
Hold that thought, because I have a question. How do you reignite the spark after working full time and being parents?
I think we have quite, because reigniting, sorry, am I being annoying with that?
No, I'm just putting it there.
Getting away from me. Because we can't be together all the time and we don't have a bedroom right now, it means that it's still quite novel when we're together. So it's not like we're sleeping in the same bed day in, day out. I really think it'll be so interesting when we do have our big bedroom in Liverpool, what happens to our sex life. Because it'd be so interesting if it worsens, because right now it's kind of like, Well, we have sex when we have the opportunity. But when we've got the opportunity to do the whole time, there will be times that we don't, even when we have the opportunity, which means you can get stuck in a lazy rut. I don't think you'll let that happen. And you quite like to be as regular as possible. I've come around to it. You've got a lot better. You got a lot better at sex in the morning too, thank God.
Yes. Well,
because I almost I remember it was very early on. You were like, no, I don't do that. I just don't do that. And I remember thinking, but I that's not okay.
Yeah, well, I think that I was quite insecure in the old breath department, but the tongue scraper's really done wonders for us in the sex in the morning department. I woke up this morning, brushed my teeth, hopped back into bed, had a good fat.
Alfie,
Jessie,
why are you brushing your teeth? This is so, because we had a fight last night. It wasn't a fight.
We didn't have a fight. You want to go into that?
No. Well, basically, after we did our podcast until 2 a.m., I thought, because basically, if there's an opportunity if we're in a hotel, if you don't have sex in the hotel, you failed. You've just paid £200. You need to have sex in the hotel.
I think there's something that is. Here's my take on your view on sex, is that you need to do it to prove to the universe that we are a valid and thriving couple. And you don't like the idea of being in a relationship that could be seen as stale by none of the spectators obviously there are spectators to this podcast, but we never usually talk about this sort of thing. But you don't like the optics for yourself of not having sex regularly. You don't want to be one of those couples that doesn't have sex. That's
probably accurate, but it's also, I think it's just validation for me. It's like, oh, okay, good, he fancies me.
Right.
And also because you don't give me gifts.
I do give you gifts.
You don't give me gifts.
I do give you gifts.
You don't give me gifts.
I do give you gifts.
Do you buy me flowers?
I don't buy you flowers because very early on you said that you don't like flowers, and I am a boyfriend who listens. I've listened to that. I don't like flowers. Whenever anybody buys you flowers, you get flowers for being in some, trolleyed or whatnot, and they come in the post. You go, oh God, now they're just going to die. And I don't want that on my conscience.
I take that back now. I'd like flowers.
You'd like flowers, would you?
I'd like flowers. Anyway, because you don't give me gifts and flowers.
I do give you gifts.
What was the last gift you got me?
I don't know, but there's lots of things. I buy you practical gifts and nice gifts.
Oh, good.
I just never. I buy you both things. I bought you a cleaner for your mouth guard that you wear at night because
that was like 2 years ago.
That wasn't 2 years ago. It was recently. It wasn't.
Okay, let me finish.
Bought you a jumper. I bought you
what jumper?
The Tennessee one.
Oh yeah, that was last March.
I saw that you. But what do you mean?
I would like 6 gifts a year. That's, I think, a bare minimum.
6 gifts a year.
Yeah. So this is my point. Because we both, sorry, I should rephrase. We both don't do gifts.
No, we never do gifts.
And we don't.
I buy you more gifts than you buy me.
And we don't do birthdays and we don't do anniversaries and we don't do any of that stuff. We're not very material people. The things that we do, the things that I value are like nights in hotels and like going for dinner occasionally and stuff like that. So like, it just, I don't know, it's just a form of, I must be just incredibly insecure. Yeah.
I've really come around to, I think, but if there was a period in our relationship whereby we hadn't had sex for longer than was optimum or optimal for you, you would say, I feel very distant from you right now. And I always thought, well, that's not everything that it's about though, is it? You should be able to feel close to me even if we haven't had sex as recently as you would deem appropriate. And that always got to me a little bit. And now I'm a total convert and I feel exactly like you. And I think, yeah, keep it close, keep it regular, let's just keep open-minded. And sometimes you don't feel like having sex, but if you just fucking
do it,
go for it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously if you both are consenting. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not saying like, no, you don't want to, but that doesn't matter. You'll warm up to this. You'll get into this. Don't worry.
I'm glad that you've come around.
No pun intended. I have come around and I think that actually just get into the zone. Just like it's like,
oh, that's so nice.
And then it becomes, even if you don't feel like it, it's like
start crying.
Halfway through it, you always do feel like, it like the Woody Allen says, like, my analyst told me I was having the wrong kind of orgasm. You had the wrong kind of orgasm? Every kind of orgasm I had was right on the money. Even the worst orgasm I ever had was whatever it was. So anyway, that's
Let's not do that again. The Woody Allen stuff, but thank you.
Why?
Let's just move on.
It's not a great impression.
No,
sorry.
It wasn't.
But it's a good line.
It is. Right, go on.
That was a body part you most love about yourself and the other.
Ourselves?
Yeah, what's your favourite body part on you?
I don't know. That's so like, I've never thought about that. I like my legs.
I like your legs.
I'm lucky with my legs.
And your ass. Is that a body part?
Well, yeah, but my ass is only because I fucking, go to the gym.
So? Yeah,
but it's not like naturally a good ass. It's like I've got to fucking do the things, the donkey kicks. So many fucking donkey kicks.
Yeah, but anybody who has a good body only like...
Yeah, but my legs are naturally quite good.
Yeah, your legs are... but they're not. They're just because you're fit. If you
No, they're naturally nice shaped. I've got naturally nice shaped legs. I think it's the only thing that I'm like naturally lucky with.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? What things do you like about yourself? You've got good legs. We actually have very similar legs.
I don't have good legs. I've got knock knees. I showed them to a fucking podiatrist once and they didn't know how I was walking without pain. They're so fucked up.
Oh.
If I could afford orthotics, I'd get them, but I can't. So I'm just.
What are orthotics?
Orthotics are like insoles that go in your shoe, but I had them when I was a kid. They mold. They take a plaster cast of your foot and then give you like the right shaped.
How much are they?
A few £100 now.
Oh my God, Alfie, why don't you have them? That's so upsetting.
Because I can't afford them.
No, but that's like a priority spend. Okay. That's like a priority spend.
I'm saving up for a Nintendo DS2, Switch 2,
God.
whatever it's called. Anyway, I'll do that. I like my shoulders. I think I have good shoulders. Even when I'm out of shape, my shoulders remain pretty decent.
Yeah, nice broad back.
Broad back.
Like me, I got a broad back.
You've got a broad back. Not quite so good for you, quite good for me. Like it's, a broad back on a woman is...
I got swimmer's shoulders.
But also
I'm hourglass.
You are. You've got a lovely waist.
Yeah, your shoulders are my favorite thing, and your legs, even though you think you've got knock knees.
And I've got a pretty dick, not an enormous one.
We weren't doing genitals.
But it's a body part, isn't it?
Okay, great. Well, I then pick my vagina.
It's a very pretty one.
Okay. Oh God.
Yeah.
I don't like that question. That's too self-pleasing. No.
Body part.
But thank you for that. That's really sweet. Thank you.
The next one, marriage ?
Well, you decide. We had a lovely chat with someone last night about their proposal, their planning. We won't ruin it for anyone, just in case they're listening. But the ring thing, I do find slightly insane.
Is this like your flowers thing? You're going to say, I don't want you spending too much on a ring. And then when I get you a ring, that's like...
If you spend $5,000 on a ring for me, I would be so angry.
Yeah, because we could have got...
We could have gone on holiday.
Yeah, I think it's... I would
lose the ring. I lost a ring that I was wearing last night. I've lost it because Becca took it and I don't know where it is. I lose jewelry. I don't really lose possessions, but jewelry is the one thing I lose.
Yeah, I think expensive engagement rings are insane. And I'm so happy that, the fact that we both agree on that means we probably should get married because
we're not materialistic.
You can't say, I don't want to do the most body part you most love about yourself. It's too self-loving and then go, we're not materialistic.
We don't believe in belongings.
We do believe in belongings.
I'm just so embarrassed that we both said our favourite body part is our dick and vagina. That's so embarrassing. Can you just, that's not true. No, I'm so embarrassed. I'm so embarrassed.
But your shoulders, your bum and your legs.
Yeah, but then I went, actually my vagina.
Yeah, but that was only in response to me saying dick, which was kind of weird. Look, this is first of all, people like this podcast because of the honesty. Second of all, it's a comedy podcast. So you can sort of we've said the serious ones and also I do you do have a very pretty dick, which is actually when we were broken up, that was the thing that I missed the most. not just like your personality obviously is great, but I remember being with other people and thinking, oh, but I miss that dick. Yeah. Well, I think
Did you miss my vagina?
Yeah, very much so. And people always talk about obviously big dicks, small dicks, good dicks, bad dicks. There is a metric by which you can measure what a good dick is. But all vaginas are different. They're comfy, uncomfortable, but you can't measure comfort in inches. So women don't have the same problem.
That's very true. Very true. Poor men.
Poor men. There aren't enough podcasts saying poor men nowadays, but we're willing to say it. Poor men. I also got, my personality is informed by my dick and my height. And that's why it's the best size dick and the best height you can be. 6 inches, 5'10", bosh. That means tall enough that you're not very short, but also not too tall that you're arrogant. Same with the dick. Big enough that it's good, but not so big that you think fucking...
But I often look at couples and I look at their ratios. So I look at how tall they are, how big they are, kind of compared to each other. And I sometimes, it's weird, but I sometimes think, I wonder what how it fits when they have sex.
Well, I think sex is very much like the way in which personalities match or don't. And this is something that you find on, that we saw on Married at First Sight. Not that I want to use that as an example of well-functioning relationships or indeed how relationships function at all. But you'll see that sometimes they fuck and then they go, that's it, bye-bye, it's over, no thank you. And then I don't understand it. Like, we were intimate last night, which is their kind of euphemism for we fucked. And now, like, she can't even look at me because you are rubbish.
But the thing is...
Or it's just wrong rhythm.
I think sometimes, though, you can have... I don't think you can go from bad sex to amazing, mind-blowing sex in the course of a few months with someone. But I think if you have, like, fine sex, you can learn things and you can improve it. But there is something to be said about that instant connection physically. And if you have that, then that bodes well.
Yeah. It must be like what it's like if you can tango and you meet somebody else who can tango, you go, fuck me, we can both tango. Shall we tango? You go, yes, you don't even know you. And here we are tangoing. Amazing. Yeah. This kind of primal choreography, primal choreography. It's exhausting, Jessie.
I haven't interrupted you that much.
I think we both interrupt each other, Jessie. I'm sorry.
Go on, the primal choreography.
No. It's over.
Finish your
whenever
sentence.
You do it. Yes, but when you do a thing that you think, like, the whole currency of this fucking malarkey is clipping stuff up. And
I just ruined a clip.
You have a few...
Jessie the clip ruiner. I always think that about dancers. I think, they must have fucking great sex.
Maybe. Like
dance troupes, they're all probably just constantly having sex with each other.
I would like to get married in answer to that question.
Sorry, you're annoyed that I ruined the clip.
No, I'm not. Stop second guessing everything.
I'm so sorry.
Sorry, who?
Sorry, Daddy.
I want to get married, but only when I'm earning more money. I don't know why that's so important to me, but it is.
I'm not bothered about getting married, genuinely. I think that it might stress me out a bit too much, I think, because you would have like a full side of people in the congregation and I would have like 3 friends.
Mm-hmm. But I, after Will's wedding, I want to.
That's nice, but I still feel like too much of a loser to get married.
Well, you're not. You're great. So we're going to get married. How do you deal emotionally with online trolls, Daily Mail, Lad Bible, etc.?
You got trolled yesterday.
No, it was funny though. You posted a picture of us at the International Booker Prize and somebody messaged underneath, how did your boyfriend's chemical peel go? Because I had sunburn and that was amusing.
It was amusing.
That's good stuff.
I don't engage with trolls. You just
quietly obsess over them.
If I get a negative comment that is ridiculous or mean or just kind of like gross, I would delete it. If I get a comment which is just, I very rarely reply. But yesterday someone commented under a podcast clip something about, oh my God, she's had to resort to OnlyFans because he can't earn any money. And I just thought, no, fuck that. So I replied, or maybe she wants to earn money independently and do something for herself, which I thought was very, very feminist of me.
Was.
And so I occasionally comment stuff like that, but that isn't actually trolling. I don't really know.
Well, it was she was trolling, whoever that, was it she?
She, yeah.
Yeah.
But trolling, I think, is when it's kind of a bombardment.
No.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, then, yeah, I deal with it like that. I'm quite selective with who I reply to.
I tend not to reply. Sometimes I'll just delete it and block them. I think that I've taken to blocking or muting. I've muted so many people on Instagram, including my friends, because they just don't make me, and like all the annoying people that you'd see in your For You page, I've muted or blocked. The schooner scorer, he's been blocked. Just terrible people who are clogging up your brain with complete dog shit. I'm done.
Yeah, same. I've muted most people.
It's just me.
It's just you. No, I have people, but if anyone makes me feel like uneasy when I go on, I mute. I am burnt out at the moment with social media.
Yeah, I'm feeling really, really, I'm really lagging with it. And you know, other football fans who listen to the podcast will know that the transfer season is just, you're glued to your phone. It's a nightmare because it's so exciting. Like, it's my most childish. If I behaved in other areas of my life the way I behave about football, it would be ridiculed and rightly deemed as utterly pathetic. But we are where we are. Online trolls, I think if you see something like a clip of a podcast that you don't follow and you don't like it, and you decide to take some time out of your life to say, I don't think this is right, or this is shit, or I don't like it, or it's deeply pathetic, and that's the behavior of a loser or somebody who's not kind of emotionally or intellectually robust enough to go, it's all a big mess of shite. The whole of Instagram or TikTok or whatever, it's just this endless barrage of people desperately asking for attention. It should be, it's fun and silly. And that's the most seriously you should take it. So if you're writing nasty shit on there, it's just such a catastrophic waste of human life.
I would love to know what they actually do in the day when they're not commenting horribly. But the problem is, if it's dependent on your income, social media, then you can't really get away from it.
Yeah, so but it doesn't really affect me.
Yeah, but it deeply affects me because I have to keep, you know, things afloat subscriber wise, which means I have to be active on social media to signal people towards my OnlyFans.
No, I know. I'm on there too, and I see it. I also see negative stuff that people say about me. It just doesn't usually affect me that much.
Yeah, it doesn't really affect me either because I know it's all bullshit.
Yes. Okay,
yeah.
good.
Yeah,
okay.
I know it's all bullshit. I'm not getting like deeply upset about it.
How did we decide baby names? These people are 38 weeks pregnant and they don't agree.
It's really hard, baby names. And I kind of regret a couple of ours names. Like obviously they are their names now and I love them and that's great. But if I could do it again.
Don't tell us which names.
No, of course not. Of course. Imagine.
I'm just, you know.
I think that we were just I so wanted to please you with the first name and I love that name. So I don't really like that many names. So you have
told us which name.
No, but it's basically all of the names are your decision.
Well, no.
Yeah.
I think, no. Decision is so the wrong word to use. Suggestion. Yeah.
Yeah. So that mainly your suggestion and I wanted to make you happy. So I just said yes.
Well, the first child I was allowed to name and it was my decision because you wanted me to decide so that I'd have some vested interest in the child because you weren't sure whether it was mine because you'd had sex with somebody else that week.
Yeah. Yeah, that's all true. All true.
So that's why.
And it worked. You're still here.
Well, yeah, but we've also got the DNA test. He's definitely mine. So.
Well, 99.9999999999999.
And also it was just a typed bit of paper. Anybody could have sent that from anywhere. It didn't mean anything to me.
He's identical to you. All of the boys are identical to you.
Except the youngest. Who looks a bit like my brother. So maybe you've been knobbing Louis.
I think that names is something that people kind of overthink. And actually, I was thinking about it today. I wish we'd called a child Joe or like, I don't know, something really simple and like pure and just not overthink it. And because their surname's Brown, just having I like kind of plain, I think I was trying to be a bit too quirky. But I'm really glad with all their names and I'm really grateful. But I think people overthink it.
I would go down the how we found a couple of the names was by going down the spines of books on a good bookshelf. And there are quite a few names. Also, if you're thinking about middle names, initial them before your last name. Like, W.E. Houseman or R.L. Stein or whatever. W.B. Yeats. And see how that sounds, and that'll inform what letters you want to start with. A rather interesting conversation we had last night was this guy. We were talking about the dog that we're going to get and what we're going to call it, and he said, "Be careful with what you call it." And I went, "Why?" And he went, "Think about every dog you've ever met and what that dog is called, and how much what you call that dog informs what their personality is." He said, there is no dog whose personality doesn't match. If you name a dog, if there's a dog called Bruiser, it's going to be like, if there's a dog called Silly, it's going to be a dog called, like one of my dog was called Lolly. And then there was another dog I had called Rosie that was very much more prim than Lolly. And that was just because, and I'm not sure whether, obviously it's complete bollocks. I'm not sure that there's any way that could feasibly make any difference, but it was intuitive. So maybe the same is true of children.
Well, I did think that. Remember our discussion before Margot was born? Because we were like, well, if we call her Roxy, she's going to have a very different life to if we call her Mary. Like Roxy is kind of like a sassy, cool name, and Mary's like, oh. So I remember feeling quite conflicted about what road we go down with her. And that's why I liked Margot, because it was like elegant. And I desperately wanted her to be elegant, unlike me. I also think giving them 2 middle names is great. You can give them as many names as you want. Also, didn't realize you don't have to have that. They don't have to have your surname. It's crazy. It's so crazy how it works. So yeah, I mean, obviously if you want to take them out the country on your own as a mother, if they don't have your surname, they have to get the father to come and approve. It's ridiculous. It's so old fashioned, but I wouldn't really take them out the country on my own anyway, so it's not such a big deal. But I think giving them, our third child, his middle name is what we call him. I like that. You can just, and then he can choose when he's older, although I can't imagine him not choosing that name.
And our youngest doesn't have either of our second names.
Yeah, he's Cave.
Yeah, which is not your second name.
Yeah, it is, but whatever. Okay, go on. Next question. No. Yeah, this is gone.
But it's like...
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. We've got the no and again.
Yep.
Brilliant. That is the most frustrating thing.
Just saying how you give out personal information sometimes without like checking.
That's not personal information. Anybody can see that. That's not like private. That's like common knowledge.
It isn't common knowledge. It's just not. It's like, that's my working name. Like, it's not common knowledge.
What does it say on your Wikipedia?
No, it says just exactly. It doesn't say it on my Wikipedia.
How do you know?
Because I know, because it's like...
You wrote it.
No. This is boring. Okay.
Come
on, and I have to go.
Right. It does say so on your Wikipedia.
Okay, fine.
So, so was that worth it?
I hate you.
It says that on your Wikipedia. Was that worth it?
I hate you.
Was it worth it? It says it on your Wikipedia.
Is this worth it?
I just want to know before you, like, because I've just got in trouble on the podcast.
Yeah, because it's annoying. I don't like it because that's what I feel like. It's basically my mum and my dad's surnames, and I chose my mum's name for my stage name because there was another.
Yeah, the stage name is completely viable.
But it's like, I just don't like it. I don't like you revealing that. I don't like.
But I haven't revealed it. It's on your Wikipedia.
I feel like you. Yeah, but I don't like that. I don't like that you just got out Wikipedia. But it's weird.
But I'm just saying, I haven't revealed it. It's on your Wikipedia.
So
page.
Annoying when you just bring out Wikipedia when we're having a chat. Like,
but that's a different thing. You weren't, and you were annoyed initially because I said something
now
that
I'm annoyed
was
about
available in the public domain.
Yeah.
You and your annoyance. Jessie is all, Alfie is all head. Jessie is all heart. Does this ring true? Are you each other's missing piece?
You go on.
I refute that. I don't think that I'm all head. I think I've got a lot of heart.
I think Alf is the opposite. I think it's the other way around, isn't it?
No, I think you're a lot of heart as well. I don't think...
Maybe I'm a different organ.
Yes, you're all pancreas. You're all...
Let's rattle through them now.
Okay, yeah. Jessie...
I've lost the will to, podcast now, given that we did this until 2 a.m. last night.
Jessie, this is better. This has been better than that.
It's not better. It was so much better last night.
It wasn't better last night.
Okay, fine. Well, I was drunk, so I was enjoying it way more.
Yeah, but you were making no sense last night. It was absolutely embarrassing.
I was.
It was completely embarrassing. You were brilliant last night, and you're brilliant right now. I love you so much.
I love you too.
I wish you wouldn't.
Just move on, Alfie.
What's the one thing you wish the other knew / understood about you that you feel like they don't?
I feel like you don't quite understand my phobia of doors, like going into a place and there being a door, and you don't get that door is terrifying to me because I don't know what's behind that door. And I've had to send you numerous photos of doors and say, I can't go in. I just can't go in. I can't go in. Related
to more broadly to your social awkwardness and stuff like that.
Yeah, like my social anxiety and my random phobias of things. I feel like you don't quite, you think that I'm just being dramatic or weird on purpose when actually it's a real thing. I'm so scared of what's behind that door, or going into places on my own, going into a party on my own, an event on my own, like having to find you at something, all so terrifying. And I think you're a lot better now. You're so much better now. But I think for years you were quite dismissive of that and thought I was just being pathetic.
Well, I don't think it was something that you immediately brought up to me. And it's something that I think because you started mentioning it a few years into the relationship.
That's going to be cool.
I know. I didn't know that you wore a mouth guard until we've been together for until we had 2 children.
So 2 years.
How did you manage that?
I just hid it under the pillow in a flannel.
Incredible.
I was so angry with my sister. So
much
angry.
admiration. And she said, because of course you wear a mouth guard, and we were sitting next to each other on the couch, and you went, what? No. Like the first time you farted in front of me. It was I went, what's that smell? You went, I know. What's that? What is that? That's mad.
Shut up.
Yeah, I know.
What about you?
I'm trying to have more empathy in that department, and
you're way better. You're way better. You get me now. You get me.
I wish that you had more sympathy for the idea that I don't work like you. I wish you were more sympathetic of my fear, and you took my fear about working and putting myself out there, my procrastination as a symptom of fear. And especially now, but it's always been the case. I've never, ever found it very easy to go, I'm going to do a thing. I'd never, there's an oft used expression like, oh my God, give me the confidence of a straight white man. I'd love to have the confidence of a straight white man. And I'd love to be able to, I think it's amazing. You write brilliant Substacks, and you sit down, and if you need to do an hour of writing, it takes you an hour. If I'm going to do an hour of writing, it takes me 7 hours. And I wish that I had a better process, or wish that I could work as efficiently as you could. And I wish that I could move past it. I'm sure that you probably wish that you could move past your fear of doors and indeed small holes bunched together.
I think though, my work ethic has come from the lack of time I have because of the kids. So I only have a certain amount of time to do something. So if I have an hour of child-free stuff, I do as much as I can in that hour because I know I won't get another opportunity. And because the way that we wanted to raise our kids is that if I could, I would be a full-time mum.
Yeah.
And I want you to go out and, well, if you had a deadline like me, I think you'd be better.
No, you were like this before the children.
I was a bit more aimless. definitely hyper focusing has come into play since having
When
kids.
we were on our first date, you had about 98 things in development, and you spoke to me about all of them. You doodled every day. You put yourself out there. You created a huge internet identity and Instagram following based around these doodles that were comedy sort of cartoon sketches that were evocative. It was completely unique. It was you were regimented about it. You put yourself out there constantly. Meanwhile, writing and submitting scripts, and without any sort of prior knowledge of what it was, taking yourself to Edinburgh. You've always used your money from Harry Potter to film a succession of short films and sketches that created an internet, like a YouTube identity for you. You have always been amazing at putting yourself out there.
And look at me now, doing hair content on OnlyFans.
Yes.
It's all worked out.
But what I mean is it's brilliant. And there are so many people that love you. And these people that have followed you through from the videos to the drawings to the podcast to the next podcast to the novel to the shows to here.
They've all left me, Alfie.
They haven't, Pete. They haven't.
Anyway, that's very sweet. Yeah, I do. I'm quite good at hyper focusing, and I know, and I am trying to be more sympathetic to you. But it's really hard because we've gone in phases in our relationship, and me being your manager and me being like, right, go and get this treatment done today. Do this gig. Go to the gym. Do 50 words on this. Do what, when I try and be militant about it for you, you seem to want me to do that. And then that destroys our relationship. And then when I don't do anything and I'm just your girlfriend and let you be, you're completely lost too. So it's such a shame because you do benefit from drilling. You do. Like that Edinburgh that broke us when Margot was 3 weeks old and we went up.
But you were like, you made my show so much better that year.
So we went up to Edinburgh. You were doing your whatever show and I wasn't. And I was like, well, you're not going to, you won't want to be without the newborn baby for Edinburgh. We'll go up with you. And we did. We went up. I was doing quite well at the time, but I was like, I'm going to do nothing for a bit and I'm just going to be a mum and I'm going to support you. And my mum came up to help me with it because Margot was only 3 weeks old. And she was like, go and see Alfie's first show. Go and see his first show. You've got an hour. You don't need to feed her for an hour. Just run there, run back. So I had this hour and 15 minutes. I sprinted to your show after feeding her and watched you just after thinking you'd worked on the show for 6 months or however many months. I watched you just kind of do nothing on stage for an hour. And I was so enraged that I had sacrificed my career for you to go and do nothing on stage. So I forced you. Your show was at 3 p.m., which was uncharacteristic for you. 2 p.m. So I forced you to get up in the mornings and I drilled it and I made you do each bit. I changed the order. I made you come on, not do any crowd work, just start talking. And it's not you at all. I even made you wear like a red Adidas tracksuit bottoms and this shirt that I liked you. And I was like, I was your manager. And I made you kind of carve it and drill it. And then by the end of the month, I've never watched you on stage and been that proud. And then when you did get successful finally, and you were being drilled by your manager and things were going well, it's just such a colossal fucking loss. This loss of
support
and confidence for you. Like you just need to get that back and then you can go forwards. But because you're completely on your own, because you don't have a manager, you're not looking for a manager, you're not looking for any extra spot. You think, oh no, I'll just deal with this all on my own. I'll hide away and I'll just do it all on my own. That's why you're in this position. So either I go back to being a full-time manager or you become my full-time OnlyFans manager. But that's not what we both want. We both want to do well, which is, I think, relating to one of our questions too.
Is it?
It's like, how do you thrive in careers with 4 kids? Is it impossible?
Oh, I've not got that one down here.
Well, it is impossible. It is impossible.
Yes. Well, I mean, yeah, so thank you very much for that. I think there are a few things in there a few little inaccuracies, but they're by the by. And I think in the main, that Edinburgh, you were so helpful to me. And I was, I benefited greatly.
There must be a couple more fun questions to end it on.
From you. How do you feel about moving to Liverpool?
I feel very excited. We're going to have a bedroom. Can you imagine having a bedroom? We're going to have a dog. I've never touched a dog, so
You're going to love the dog. You are going to fall when you see a little puppy who's all a little puppy.
He won't be that little though. Eh? She
will be like that big.
Okay, that's great. Yeah,
that's great. And then
I can become a dog. Like I can have multiple dogs.
And I think you think that if you met like an adult dog that was walking down the street, it took a shit, somebody said, do you want to pick that up? You go, are you fucking kidding me? But I think if you've had it since you're a puppy, it will...
I'm never picking up a dog shit.
I just think you'll change your mind.
I'm going to leave the dog shit on the street.
Yeah, well, when it's a puppy,
I'm going to call you and say, the dog did a shit on this street.
Yeah,
don't get it.
When it's a puppy, it might do a shit indoors. So you'll...
well, then I'll have to just leave it. I'll abandon it. I'll put it on the street. If that happens, and then it will learn a lesson, okay? Because there's just no chance. On my new cork flooring, thank you very much.
Cork absorbent. Will it absorb? You can just mop it.
We need to learn a bit more about cork flooring.
We do. You're obsessed with cork
flooring. We're getting cork flooring. It's my identity now is cork flooring.
Yeah, Jessie goes through little phases where she thinks she's a barn person, then a sea person, and then a cork flooring person.
I am a sea person. I'm a sea person.
How are you feeling about moving to Liverpool and leaving London? Leaving London, I'm pretty excited about.
Even though we're both London born and bred, so it's quite...
Well, I've never lived in another city, and I feel like Liverpool, there is a different spirit in Liverpool. I think that there's this comedic trope that everybody in London is rude and out for themselves. And I think it's overplayed. But I would say that your day-to-day interactions in Liverpool are so much more full of kindness and joy, and people are so much more friendly. And actually that's mirrored in the scene. I think in the London scene, I think there is a little bit more professional jealousy. Whereas I think in the scene up there, I think there's more of an understanding between people that one person's ticket sales don't take away from the others, that we're all in it together rather than competing with each other.
Yeah.
I mean, there are some exceptions to that rule that I can think of as well, but in the main, that's a more comforting and joyful spirit, in my opinion. And there are exceptions. There's also very, very supportive people I know from London as well. But
I'm going to miss the community we have here after living in this part of London for 10, 12 years. But what I am really hoping that we do is keep the promise of staying in touch with people and coming down and maintaining those bonds, which I've never been good at.
Visitors and people to stay.
Yeah, I've never been good at keeping relationships going.
I'd like that. Like Meghan. I'm not Meghan Markle anymore. I'm Meghan Sussex. Getting a little potpourri.
No.
It's just the little features for people who are staying that make me feel fantastic.
No, I don't want to do that.
Okay.
We won't have guests.
Okay. I think we will sometimes.
We will have guests, but just not with like potpourri.
No, well, there won't be any potpourri in the house because the dog will eat it.
I'm really sorry. My energy's been quite...
No, I'm sorry about 2016.
You fucked up with the SD card though. You should be more sorry about that.
I have been very sorry about that.
Yeah.
And before the podcast started, I made it very clear to you how regretful I was about that. But I'm also sorry about 2016.
You
because
came
the memory
to the swimming pool.
Yeah. I came to the
swimming pool and the kids were like, is Daddy sad? I was like, he lost an SD card.
Mm-hmm. And the sound was fucked on it anyway. So, this was better. Jessie doesn't think so because she was so pissed last night, but this was better.
Yeah.
There was more in this.
Okay. No, don't be sorry about 2016. I'm sorry that I don't know what I'm sorry about, but there's so much I'm sorry about.
Okay. Love you. Bye.
Goodbye.